Chevrolet launches an all-new generation for its best-selling crossover, being the Chevrolet Equinox. Welcome to Modern Motoring. I'm Jay, and well, let's get straight into it as to what's new and exciting with the 2025 Chevrolet Equinox and how it stands up to the competition. So, in typical Modern Motoring form, perks, quirks, irks, pricing, competition, and let's start with the baseline numbers. So all 2025 Equinoxes get a 1.5-liter turbocharged four-cylinder engine, 175 on the horsepower side, 203 pound-feet of torque. You can get the base trim in front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, being the LT, and you get the Active and the RS as all-wheel drive being standard. The all-wheel drive variants coming with an 8-speed automatic, the front-wheel drive coming with a CVT. I would pony up the extra $2,300 for a all-wheel drive version because, well, it's a small price to pay to get a much better driving experience compared to the CVT. Quick touch on the fuel side, and it's 9.2 liters per 100 kilometers, which is pretty high. The only thing higher in class is the Kia Sportage at 9.4. The fuel tank here is 56 liters, meaning you can go a little over 600 kilometers on a full tank of fuel based off these figures from Natural Resources Canada. Last set of figures I will throw at you for now is cargo. And with those rear seats up, it's 844 liters. Collapse those rear seats. They don't fold exactly flat, but flat enough. And that gives you 1,798 liters of cargo space. Cool thing here, I'll start off with a small perk, is you get a spare tire instead of a tire fill kit. So thank you, Chevrolet, for that. The rear seat space and comfort is an absolute perk. I find a lot of reviewers don't spend enough time on or in the rear seats, sometimes myself included, I will fully admit that, but the opening to get in there is very generous. It's not as wide as the Nissan Rogue with its nearly 90-degree door opening angle, but it is pretty good. Plenty of space to get yourself in. The seats are comfortable. There are 2 USB ports back there. I can easily fit behind myself with plenty of leg space and headspace as well. So good job, Chevrolet, for taking care of the rear passengers here on the 25 Equinox. Next up is that it's kind of closer to the end, but I'll touch on it now and then again. The pricing for the Active and the RS, which are the top 2 trims, are the same price, which is a great move. It saves you from having to go, well, you know, do I want to spend the extra $500, $1,000, $2,000 to go for the RS instead of the outdoor-inspired Active? So definite perk on smart and strategic pricing. Lots of standard safety is the Chevrolet/GM way. So everything you expect and need is here out of the box. So blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, lane departure alert, adaptive cruise control, and a host of others. Next up is there's a lot of storage space up front, from the door pockets to the center console to the pass-through storage as well. And you got a decent sized bin just beneath the physical touch climate controls. Thank you for that. And there's a small little one behind the drive mode selector. Might be good for a key fob or something on the smaller side. These 2 screens are extremely high res, and I know it's a weird thing to say because all screens should be high res in 2025. Some competitors aren't as high res as this, but it's a nice deep and rich black, and the colors pop nicely both during the day and at night. And even though there's no hood on the instrument cluster, I've had minimal issues with any kind of glare impeding my view here. And the same thing goes for the infotainment system. Standard wireless Apple CarPlay, standard wireless Android Auto make a huge difference. Mine is spec'd with a wireless charging pad here. The physical HVAC controls are so refreshing to see here. The trend of jamming climate controls and HVAC controls into a screen, it's terrible, awful, ridiculous, and just plain bad. So I applaud the design department for giving us actual physical buttons. Last up in the perks column is the switch between all-wheel drive and two-wheel drive is done with a touch of a button. It is so easy. It is to the left of the steering wheel, right beside the parking brake. And again, thank you for not making me dig through a screen to do something that usually needs to get done on the fly. Onto the quirk side, there's only a couple. This is a pretty well laid out, again, utilitarian vehicle. There are 2 ways to control your headlights. They're both through the screen, so that's just not great. But let's go through how we actually do that. There is a fixed button with a little light bulb on it, and you touch that. I'll do that right now, and that lets you go off, auto, parking lamps, and full low beams. Or you got to go through 3 touches. You got to go through this shortcut menu at the top for controls, and you got to go to the bottom of that screen for more controls, and then you got to go to the top part of that other screen to get to your lights. And that controls your dome light, your fog lights, and your automatic high beams, as well as all of your regular headlight controls. So a little quirky. I think that Chevrolet could have jammed everything into that one shortcut button, but that's just me. The other quirk is that for the base LT trim, you can get 16 different color options for the exterior, and a lot of that has to do with a different colored roof. You can also pick from 3 different interior color options, giving you a total of 48 different color combinations, interior and exterior, to spec your base model Equinox in. Now on the Active and the RS, in the RS, you can get 11 different exterior color combinations. Onto the Irks side of things, and the drive feel is the key one for me. It feels sluggish, it feels slow, it feels really heavy. Now it drives well for what it is, going back to the functional and utilitarian side of things. Nothing's wrong with it. It's not the quickest in class. It doesn't feel like it's the quickest in class. But if you're looking for something that is, again, utilitarian first, you don't mind having something that's a touch slower off the line, something with a bit of a heavier steering feel to it, then you'll have no problems with the Equinox. And you know, on the other side of things that feel brisk and very athletic, you know, I look at the Nissan Rogue with its smaller engine. The Honda CR-V does very well. The CX-50/CX-5 from Mazda also excels on the driving side. So it's not awful, it's just not the best in class, and really prioritize what you want out of the drive feel from a compact crossover. You know, do you mind that, again, that it's got a bit of a heavier feel, but still stays relatively flat? It's fairly easy to park and maneuver, and there's an optional 360 cam that you can get if you're doing a lot of urban driving, parking, traveling, and you find yourself in places that have a lot of tighter parking spaces. Maybe you're in somewhere with an underground garage. There is no eco mode, there is no sport mode. I don't really mind as much on the absence of a sport mode, but with fuel consumption being 9.2 liters per 100 kilometers, I feel putting in an eco drive mode could have, would have, should have been something that Chevrolet brought to the table here. Not a deal breaker by any means, but it's a bit of a rarity to see that missing in a 2025 compact crossover. The final irk being that there is no hybrid or plug-in hybrid. Yes, there's a full-out EV, and yes, there is this gasoline version, but having something to bridge that gap to ease consumers into the world of electrification before and if they go full EV would have been nice to see. I don't think it'll happen. I think GM and Chevrolet will just stick with this ICE version and the full-out EV. I think it is a bit of a miss, given that a lot of competitors offer gasoline hybrid, plug-in hybrid. Now, yes, these competitors also don't offer a full-out EV under the same nameplate, but EV adoption has slowed down. There's a whole different conversation about that. Let's wrap up with pricing and competition. So here are your Canadian MSRP figures. LT front-wheel drive with a CVT, $33,599. LT with the all-wheel drive is only another $2,300, bringing us up to $35,899. And the Active and the RS both come in at $40,699. You can dress it up. I would highly suggest being the almost $1,800 Canadian for this big panoramic sunroof. Really brightens things up, and you can get things like cooled seats, 360 cam, a few additional safety things, a digital rear view mirror. That's entirely up to you, but if you are looking at this, spend that money, tick that option sheet on getting the panoramic sunroof. On the competition side, here are those who have hybrids / plug-in hybrids or both. the Honda CR-V, the Toyota RAV4, Kia Sportage, Hyundai Tucson, Mazda CX-50, Mitsubishi Outlander, and now the Subaru Forester. Good job, Subaru, on that. So there's no shortage of competition. And on the gasoline-only side, we're looking at the Nissan Rogue, Volkswagen Tiguan, and the Ford Bronco Sport. I like the Chevrolet Equinox overall, again, and I feel bad using the same set of words, but it really drives the point home for what this vehicle is to me. Functional and utilitarian. It's not flashy. Exterior looks okay, not really my cup of tea, but design is so subjective that, you know, make your own decisions on that. Doesn't matter what I've got to say. It really doesn't matter what anybody else has to say about it either. It's dressed up really nicely out of the box. A lot of great standard features. A little sluggish on the drive side, a little slow and lumpy. Shouldn't be a deal breaker. It might be for some, but consider the bigger picture here. It's a comfortable drive. The seats are great. Again, lots of standard features out of the box. Great visibility here. And I can see why it's Chevrolet's #1 selling SUV. If you have any questions on what you've seen, let me know in the comments. I am more than happy to engage in a respectful conversation. I appreciate you. I thank you for watching. I invite you to join our social media platforms. We are on all of the major ones. And without you, there is no modern motoring. So I thank you. I appreciate you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.